more music.
Oh my God.
Here goes.
Blazing across the airwaves right now.
Get ready.
Now this is Freddie McGregor, and you're tuned in to the baddest rhythm of all time.
Grant Rock Warehaus is trying to change the world one track at a time.
Are we on the air?
Yes, you are.
More music, more of the time.
Grant Rock Warehaus.
Don't understand what's going on here.
Welcome to Grant Rock Warehaus and to the Warehaus Interview. Tonight I'd like to welcome Jamie James to the show. He is best known as the frontman of the cult favorite rockabilly trio, the Kingbees. He has a new record out, Stepping Back 88. Well, it's kind of like a new old record. We're going to talk to Jamie about it. Let's get it. It's the Warehaus Interview. All right.
Piling on the power chords and pure pandemonium. Grant Rock Warehaus.
But I think there's only one Agora left, and that's up in Cleveland.
You know, I'm impressed there's even that left because, let's see, with the Kingbees in 1980, we played, there was an Agora, I think, in either Houston or Dallas. I know it was in Texas. There was one, I believe, in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
There was one or two in Ohio. Was it? Wait a minute.
Yeah, there was one in Akron. There's one in Youngstown.
Wow.
And then the Columbus one. The Columbus, I think the last two were like the Columbus one and the Cleveland one.
Yeah, I can't remember, but they were really, really good places to play. They were fun.
Now that Agora ballroom that's in Columbus, it's on campus.
Uh-huh.
If you looked at it in 1980 and looked at it today,
No.
it looks identical, and it smells like urine and beer. It just
all of those clubs back in 1980, 79 and 80, when we toured America, they all smelled like urine and beer. I mean, it's incredible. You know, the Showbox up in Seattle, or the Catalyst in up in San Luis Obispo, or the Belly Up down in San Diego, right? And they all, the Bottom Line in New York City. I remember that, and they all did the Center Stage in Detroit.
Oh my God, the lifestyle that you have led, the stories you can tell.
Yes.
All right, let's get started. Welcome to Grant Rock Warehaus, and tonight I want to welcome a special guest, a special interview, ladies and gentlemen. Previously, the Kingbees. We have like rock royalty, but he was just joking that. What did you tell me? What you just said, Jamie? Again?
Oh, you were pondering what introduction to use, and I said, how about the internationally unknown and nationally ignored underdog of all time, Jamie James? How about that?
There it is. That's it. What better? I'll have him do his own intro. But man, I'm really excited to have him on today because he has a new release out, and I'm really excited about it. Stepping Back, 1988. Now, I've sampled this already. And I will say this, it does feel like you're going back in time. It's raw. It's no frills rock and roll. It sounds like, you'll have to tell me and explain this to me, but it almost sounds like the band, when this was recorded, it really has a live feel to me. It's like the band's just all there in the studio and we're just cranking through the tracks. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's all we knew. We went in, a friend of mine, Rusty Cusick, he had a little studio out in Rosemead, and my first love is songwriting and then guitar playing, and so I had written a bunch of songs, and Rusty, I didn't have any scratch at the time, so Rusty said, "Hey, come on out and use my studio." So it's just in East LA. So bass player, drummer, and I went out there and set up and played these tracks, and then I went back the next day and laid down another guitar track, and it was done in a few days.
Wow. I will say this, as a fan of the Kingbees and your output of that band, it's really kind of refreshing, and how should I say? I'm just kind of excited the fact that you've gone back and decided to re-release these tracks.
Well, it was never released. It was actually never released in the first place. These are songs. Yeah, these are a series. There's going to be a series of 4 albums.
All right.
And this is the first one.
Well, why back in the day? I mean, was it just let's get to everybody to go to the studio and just record it? Well, was it ever designated? Were you hoping maybe a label would pick it up?
Nah, no, I knew it
No.
wouldn't because okay, this is 1988. So the Kingbees broke up in 1981, and then in 19 later that year or the next year, MTV hit, and it just all little garage bands like myself and the Kingbees, we just got swept into this ether, this unknown kind of void where you still had cats that wanted to play and write songs and stuff. And so, I was still playing and writing songs, but I had no illusions that it was going to get picked up because it wasn't that kind of thing. And because the scene was oscillating between the 80s kind of hair bands that were laying the groundwork for, whatever, and then or the dying kind of like new wave scene that was becoming a grunge scene. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I decided to kind of go back to my 1970s playing guitar a little bit and just shredding, man. I just wanted to shred and rock.
So you were saying in '88 we're getting ready to come into the grunge scene. Nirvana hadn't hit yet. They didn't hit until '91, but the scene was changing. So what was the LA scene back then like? And what were you doing at that point in your life? What did you do after the Kingbees?
Well, after the Kingbees, I took a few years off to do some chemical experimentation.
I see.
Then I ran out of money, and I cleaned up my act in '86. And my girlfriend at the time, her father was an actor, and he was very good friends with another actor named Harry Dean Stanton. And we met at a family barbecue and we just picked up a couple guitars and started playing. And he and I ended up playing together for the next 9.5, 10 years. And he's 27 years older than I, so I learned a lot from old Harry, so that's what I did. I kind of got into a thing with Harry and did a couple of side things, just kept playing guitar and singing and playing in that void, in the void of the unknown, where there's a lot of musicians existing.
So okay, so the lineup on this recording, it's you.
It's myself. It's a drummer, Danny O'Brien, and it's a
Mhm.
bass player, Ricky Venus. And they were playing with me, doing a version of Jamie James and the Kingbees. But I felt bad using the name Kingbees because I wasn't with Michael and Rex. So so I just said, I just wanted this. This is just me writing songs and playing, and these guys just play their asses off on this.
Well, how long did you go out as Jamie James and the Kingbees?
Well, I did shows on and off whenever I needed to pay my rent and pay bills, So basically, I don't know, on and off. I don't know. Like Michael Rummans and I, the original bass player, did like a King Bee show as recent as I don't know, like I don't remember actually, but like in the 20 teens, I think. So on and off, like it depends, you know what I mean? Like I didn't pursue anything, but if you get a phone call and somebody's offering you some cabbage to play or whatever, it's fun, but
Mhm.
no, not in hot pursuit like it was back in the late 70s. In the late 70s, we used to really pursue gigs, and put up flyers and posters, and you just go crazy with it.
And I might not know the story, but why did the Kingbees cease to exist?
Well, there basically what happened is that our record company RSO, which was the Robert Stigwood organization that also had the Bee Gees and Eric Clapton and a group called Player and Freddie King, a few other acts. They were a small label, and there was some kind of business problem behind the scenes, I think, with Robert Stigwood, the owner, and the Bee Gees. So the label, just one day, I get a phone call and the label had shut down. So and I had contractual obligations that tied me up for the next few years. So we were just kind of, it was just kind of ground to a halt, so to speak.
Wow. And you guys just thought, well, just throw in the towel?
Yeah, basically, just like, I mean, it was, yeah, because MTV was happening and I could see how fast things were moving now with this new music television and you could just get a sense that we were going to get blown out and left behind. And so I don't know, at the time it was just kind of depressing, and I didn't really I didn't really, have a drive. That just lost. You just lose your
Yeah.
drive, so to speak.
I
Business,
get it.
the music business can really be gnarly, man.
Well, the other thing I've had talked to other people, and it's not an easy lifestyle. These record labels fluctuate. You'll get a change in the upper management, and the champion that maybe brought you to the label, they leave. You don't have any champions anymore, and then you're just kind of thrown to the side. Unless you're like U2 or somebody huge, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And
no.
there's a lot to it. It's just like there's a lot going against you.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, but the thing is, like, you might, listen, for me, what I learned is that, look, I might, I might not have had my record contract. I might not have had the live shows and the big name and the stuff. But they can never kill. When I say they, I mean the suits and ties.
Mm-hmm.
They can never kill your love for music, man.
No.
I'm still as much of a guitar nut today at 72 as I was at 13 years old. They can't take that away. They can't take away my desire to write songs and sing and play. So, once you realize that, man, you realize it's not about the fame and the money. At the end of the day, it's about the same thrill you got when you first picked up a guitar and learned your first couple chords and drove everybody nuts playing them over and over,
Mm-hmm. Well, at least it didn't affect that. That's fantastic. So these tracks sat unreleased for 40 years. What were they, sitting in a box in your garage? Or
no, that's literally
what made
right.
you decide to work with Oleo and get these? How did this come about, I guess, is my question.
Well, listen, Grant, you were just talking about record cats, but every so often you're going to come across guys that are really organic. And I'm telling you, Carl Capriolio, he's like me, he's like you, he's a music lover. And when you're lucky enough to come across music lovers, because, listen, man, at this age in life, you don't expect anything to see the light of day. But literally out in my garage, I had I had printed up 100 cassettes back in 1988 of these songs that we recorded to sell at shows, just to sell it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I took the cassette and when I was making the Jamie James Straight Up record that came out last year for Oleo at the studio, I took the cassette into the guys at the studio and said, "Hey, can you do something with this, with the modern equipment or something?" And John Miller, one of the engineers there, said he put it through some gear of his and he remastered it just from a cassette.
That's
from
a cassette?
That's from a cassette.
No way.
And the guy's a genius, and it sounds fantastic. Yeah,
I would never have known. Till now,
I'm a blabbermouth.
I thought maybe the tapes were sitting in the garage. Where are the tapes? No, that's from a cassette.
I don't know where those tapes are because a lot of the guys involved, unfortunately, are deceased now. But no, that's how that one came about. To be quite frank, I don't know if I can never tell if I have a big mouth, man. So I have to be careful.
That's all right. It's fine. I think it sounds fantastic. I would never have guessed.
Yeah.
So they decided. So Oleo heard it and thought, "Wow, this is fantastic. We'll go ahead and put it out."
I sent a couple of tracks to Carl, and I said, Carl, I'm sitting on this, and I don't know. And the idea came to me. I said, I'm thinking I've got a few records that I found, like one from 1999, and then a cassette with Michael Rummins and I doing an acoustic thing from 2004 that I'd forgotten about, literally had forgotten about it, and then another one from 2009. And I said, what about a series of called Jamie James Stepping Back and give these songs the light of day that previously never saw the light of day? And Carl said, send me some more stuff. So I sent him more stuff, and he said, I love it. Let's do it.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think again, there just seems like you've captured magic because it just seems so alive. It could have been released yesterday.
No, I love
I listened to it.
I spent hours earlier this morning trying to make myself look like the picture on that album cover, but it's just never going to happen, man.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask you about that. What year was that taken?
That was taken the same year, in 1988.
And what you're going to have to, I'm a big guitar head. You're gonna have to tell me what the deal is with that Fender Jaguar with the painted headstock with the black guard.
I still have that. It's a '66 Fender Jaguar, and that guitar kills. On the record, though, I used a '57 Stratocaster and an old '58 Les Paul.
Oh my God!
Actually, through, and I had just purchased because I still have them. I'm an old Tweed amp guy from the '50s, but I was walking down Sunset Boulevard with a friend of mine, and I said, "Oh, there's a shop called Carvin." So we went in, and the guy had me try a Carvin XB100. This was in 1986 or 7 or something, and I loved the sound of it, so I bought it, and that's the amp that I use in Rusty's studio.
Oh,
right? Isn't it
a tube amp though? Right? Probably. Yeah, Carvin. Well, yes, wasn't Carvin they were like a mail order, one of the mail order like places, right?
I didn't know anything about them. I just loved the sound of it, and we just put it in there, and I just turned everything on 10 and just shredded.
Yeah, I had of course, back in the day when I was a kid, we're going to go back in time, 1979. I wanted something, a Fender, whatever. I was a big Rickenbacker. I still am a big Rickenbacker guy. Okay.
Love Rickenbackers. Yeah.
But back when I was a kid starting out to play guitar, I had like bought it used. This is back in the day. You remember those days when you could just go out and buy what is considered vintage guitars now for just normal prices, Yeah,
you're going to make me cry. When I think of the guitars that I've owned, you're going to make me cry. I mean, Firebirds, old Strats and stuff. We used to pick them up for $100. I started playing electric guitar in the 1960s. So that's...
You've seen it. When I was a kid, they had, I don't know, I asked if they had any old Fenders, and they said, yeah, we've got this Jaguar over here in the case. I think it was dots. It wasn't blocks. I think it was a 65.
Dots.
I wish I knew what the serial number was, but I'm pretty sure it was 65.
Yeah, the dots are pre-CBS. Yeah.
Yeah. Bought it for $150.
Nice.
And of course, but those Jaguars, no one wanted them then.
No, I love
Jazz
them.
Masters.
Yeah.
We don't want those. Yeah. And now Fender they've been reissuing them, and they seem to be catching on. But it's like a lot of those new wave bands or of that era, or a lot of the alternative bands tend to, go towards those offset Fenders. So I guess they've had a rebirth, but...
Just in case your listeners are wondering why it's kind of a sad story, is because guitars we used to pick up for like $100 and $150 are now these days worth in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. You still have that Les Paul?
Yes, I had to sell it eventually, but
you kept the Jaguar.
Yeah, because I needed the money. But I've had a few old Les Pauls. I remember I had one that I picked up in Kansas back in 1977.
Oh boy.
For like a few $100, and I saw it a few years ago listed for $1 million.
Oh, you actually recognized it and went, that's
it. Yes. Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
Nah, I mean, it's what are you going to do? I mean, I played the crap out of it. Was it a Les Paul? It was a 1960 Sunburst with
okay.
And it was, and when I got it, it was good. But I played it for over a year. I mean, I played it for a long. I just loved playing it, man. And but when it was time, I sold it for more than I paid for it because I needed that. Listen, the thing about when you're not a superstar in the music business is sometimes you got to find ways to pay the bills, right? Mm-hmm. So either you have to sell some of your gear, or if you get lucky. But I've been very blessed because what happens with me is that somebody will pick up a song, or you'll get a royalty check, and enough to keep going, and it's kind of magic, you can't figure out how it happens. But the good news about that is that you get to live your own way. Nobody's telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. Nobody's telling you what to play, or nobody's grinding you for this or that, or go on the road, or give us another hit, or whatever, I
mean, when the Kingbees, when they were signed to the major label, I guess it was through Polydor, so, right?
Yeah.
Was it RSO Polydor? I mean, were they like that? Like, all right, boys.
Oh, yeah, they were breathing down my neck.
Could we get a single? We kind of need a hit.
Yeah. They were like that from the gate. The minute that My Mistake hit the top 100 in the Billboard charts, they were all over me to give them another one. And I said, "Well, wait, we're on the road for it. We were our first tour lasted almost a year out there,
Wow.
because like I said, it was before MTV. It was, and a lot of radio stations didn't know what to do with us because they're like, wait, this doesn't sound like Peter Frampton or Donna Summer. They didn't know how to categorize it. And
Yeah, I guess it fits best in the new wave category. That's where I would put it. I mean, the way the album covers looked, come on, you fit right into the new wave scene.
Yeah, and I think what happened too is that gratefully that the Knack and Doug Feiger and their song My Sharona that opened a lot of doors.
Well, back then, what year were you guys, remind me, what year were you guys signed?
We were signed over the Christmas holiday of 79-80. And the album came out in March of 1980.
It was when a lot of these labels were looking for that next Knack or that power pop something that kind of looks cool and hip. You know what I mean? They were riding the coattails on that.
They were coming up. I remember we got off stage at the Whiskey A Go-Go one night, and there was 10 different business cards from 10 different labels under the dressing room door when we walked when Michael and Rex came in. There was 10 different. They were out aggressively looking for, because people could see by then the change that was happening.
Man. I mean, that scene then. I mean, that must have been something. I mean, what kind of feeling did you have when you saw all these offers coming in? I mean, you had to be overwhelmed.
It was every day was like sitting in the electric chair. You can imagine
Really?
before somebody gets electrocuted, like every day was as exciting as you can imagine. And we were doing gigs. I mean, we did a couple of nights opening for Joe Jackson at the amphitheater. We played with the Germs. We played with 999 from England. We played with all kinds of bands. And I would normally I wouldn't go out because I came from more of a rock background. And I was seeing this thing that was happening around me when we would go out and do these gigs, and I would see the way the kids, the audience were responding to the bands and stuff like that. And it fortified the fact that we were because I didn't start the Kingbees to kind of fit in. I started the Kingbees as my own personal revolution against my own playing. I said, I don't want to do any more single string solos. It's all 2-string solos. And I want to do all with keep it really basic, like Buddy Holly and the Crickets, and have vocals and real simple songs, because I had been grinding out lead guitar all through the 70s, and I just burnt out on it. I burnt out on it. And I got my hair cut when I was on the road in Miami with this rock band. And down the hotel lobby, the barber, I got my hair cut off. And then when we were up in Virginia, I bought these Colonel Sanders rhinestone ties. And I didn't know that it was going to be called rockabilly or anything.
Yeah.
And when I got back to LA, I said, I just want to do something different. And my next door neighbor was a drummer, and Michael Rummins lived in the neighborhood, the bass player. And I said, guys, come on over and listen to these songs that I have. And that's what happened. Like, it was just an organic. That was back in 77.
Wow. And when you guys all got in the room, and had you played with those guys before?
No, we never even played then. Rex played on his lap. I strummed my old 57 Strat in my living room, my little apartment. Michael wasn't even his bass wasn't plugged in. Dude, we just sat there in the living room going over stuff.
Wow.
And then I had the nerve to call an agent to and play it for him over the phone to say, dude,
listen to this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, it worked out.
It did, yes.
We kind of went on a tangent on guitars, Kingbees, but I do like talk guitars because it's a little bit different, I can't help it. I see a picture like that Jaguar on the front of that cover, and I'm going, baby, painted headstock.
No, man, I mean,
block inlays.
That was custom out of the factory too. That matching headstock,
It's a custom color at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I love it. I have 2 Jaguars too. The other one I have is a gold sparkle that was another custom job, and it's got a gold sparkle little plastic tip at the end of the whammy bar that matches the gold sparkle on the body. I just love it.
Well,
that one's a dot inlay, huh?
What year is that one?
That one's a 65 or 64.
So it's like a sparkly. Whenever you say sparkly guitars of that era, I think Buck Owens or something like that.
Yeah, it's sparkly. It's sparkly, yeah.
Oh my God, that's probably like a one-off NAM guitar or something weird.
It was probably a custom order by some guy, yeah.
Man, good for you. And it's a sparkly thing on the end of the fantastic.
Yeah, on the end of the whammy bar. That's why you know it was done
Is
in the
it
factory.
painted headstock or no?
No, this is a natural headstock.
Wow. I love it. Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love talking guitars because a lot of these shows I don't get to do that. And I'm sorry, I know we're talking about this record, but it's fun to talk guitars a little bit.
Well, there's a lot of guitar on this record. I went to town on this record. I mean, on Pieces and all of those songs, Long Shot and Canadian blues, man. I just ripped. I just wanted to play the blues, man.
I understand. So
when you get a tone like that in the studio as a guitar player, you just can't help but get lost in the.
Well, I might have had something to do with that new amp. If you you fell in love with that amp, maybe that. But stuff like that can make you play better or give you more inspiration. If
absolutely,
you're clicking in with that tone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about. Well, I'm just curious, real quick. What did you used to play through before that Carvin?
Well, the Carvin, it was too big to ever take and do live shows. So I always played through a 410, an old 58 410 Fender Bassman, a tweed Bassman. And then I had a 1961 of 410 Fender Reverb, a Fender Reverb amp. Yeah.
Wow.
I've got two of those. They sound great. In fact, that ended up being my go-to was not the twin reverb, but the Fender, the 410. What was it called? It's called the
410 version, quad reverb.
No, it was just I think it's just called the reverb, Fender Reverb.
Okay.
I can't remember right now, but
I know we're on a tangent, but I remember at the Newport, which was the Agora back in the day, and I think this was in the 90s. We went and saw. You had to have seen Dick Dale play back in the past.
Yes.
Yes,
in
fact,
we did a couple shows with Dick Dale. Yes,
he had his Showman's right to the side, and of course he's playing that sparkly. He's playing a sparkly Strat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had his Fender reverb units hanging from the rafters.
Yeah.
Of the Newport. And I'll tell you this, he was loud. I love Dick Dale. But man, talk about the energy in that room.
Me too. Yeah. We did a couple of shows with him. He is fantastic.
He was fantastic. And I just laughed. I said, my God, those reverb units are hanging out from the ceiling. It was so great. May he rest in peace. But he was, what an innovator, Anyway, as far as the stepping back material, I'm just curious, you think you're going to go out and play live with any of this? Is there going to be a CD release of this, or is it just going to be streaming?
That I don't know. I don't know. I my crystal ball fell and shattered.
It did.
No, there's no plans for anything right now except to just get the music out there, and which I'm so grateful for, because this is stuff that was never going to see the light of day, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so fun for me to just sit here and even talk to you about this, because especially another guitar nut, and this thing was all about just cranking up my guitar, bass and drums, and then just go to town.
That's
with
what
the
I
guitar.
like. That's what I like. It's pure, Just pure, just plug in and go. Yeah. That's what this sounds like. It just sounds very live. And by the way, kids, I'm putting the links down below for this because it's available streaming. You go to Spotify. I'm assuming Apple Music. I'm assuming
it's on all those
everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So give it some love. And is it on Bandcamp too? Do you know? Probably. I would imagine.
I don't even know what that is, man. I'm sorry.
That's a lot of Bandcamp's like a site where a lot of independent artists use, and they put up, bands that don't have labels or whatever. They'll put everything up. You can download it. Maybe you can buy merch from it. It's kind of like.
Yeah. It's
probably up there.
It's sad to say, but honestly, man, I've never gotten into the computer thing. Honestly, I missed out on that, and I'm a guitar nut, but it stops there. And I love to write songs, but I don't know. I'm not a social media guy. I never have been. And at this point in my life, I'm never going to be. Carl picks up the slack and all that. He's really great with that, and at the record company, and he puts all that stuff together. So. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what Bandcamp is, to be honest. I
Okay.
probably should.
Well, did you have anything to do with those reissues? What, like in 2014, 2015 of the Kingbees reissues? I think they're on Omnivore.
Omnivore. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Bonus
Those.
tracks. Did you have anything to do with those?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Those were those were through my friends over there at Omnivore, which are also friends with Carl. They at one time used to all do things together. They're also another really good unit of guys, man. And yeah, the King Bees was on Omnivore, where we put a couple of little bonus tracks on there. And let's see, what was that around 2014, I think.
I think
like
it's 2014, 2015. I was over on their site and they're still offered. So evidently they're still in print.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So, and in fact, one of the guys that works there, Greg, he shot the cover for the Jamie James Straight Up, the album that came out on Oleo last year. It's with the new songs, brand new original songs, and Greg shot that. So, you find good people, and it's not like a competitive thing. It's just like, there's people that still want to get behind artists when they hear good music, I think, or whatever motivates them, and be supportive,
Yeah, well, it's kind of like Wicked Cool Records and Steven Van Zandt and his label over there.
Yeah.
He is like he's, bringing a lot of these artists in, and it's just a fabulous label. Just another, he stands right behind these bands and artists.
Yeah.
And have a lot of great stuff over there. So, I still think that there's hope,
Yeah. I think as long as you're breathing and your heart is beating, there's always hope, man. I mean, but hope for what? I mean, I don't know if I could feel any better today. It's a beautiful day here in Los Angeles, and I don't, what do you need more than, that we already have if we kind of have our heads on straight, you know what I mean? Honestly, it's like, if, it's important for me, I think, to understand, to recognize satisfaction and joy, and that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, I totally.
People can make themselves, crazy with, I need more. I want more. I want more of this, more of that. That's just chasing your own tail,
So I'm curious, since I have you here, check our time. All right. I'm just curious. Do you have any wild late 80s LA stories from the whiskey, or anybody that you played with, or anything that you can tell the people in the warehouse? It's not too wild, but entertaining. Any entertaining stories? Because I know you have some.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's like, there's so many of them. But let's see, like one. Let's see. Let's see. Well, here. I'll tell you one. This was one. Okay. This was fun. The Kingbees. We were playing we were on the road to support. The second album had just come out in March of 1981. The first album came out March of 80. The second album came out in March in 81, and then later that month, the record company folded and left us high and dry. So we were playing up in San Francisco at a place called the Keystone, opening for Jerry Lee Lewis. So we're on stage now. We did a Mac Vickery song that Jerry Lee had covered called "Rockin' My Life Away" on the second album, and I'm like, I wanted to play it that night because it was our closing song. But the guys were like, "Man, that's Jerry Lee does that in his set and stuff." I have one of my roadies, like I said, is Jerry Lee here yet? No, he's not here yet. I said, okay, if he doesn't show up, I'm going to do the song. So we're near the end of the set, and I look over. Is he here yet? No, he's not here yet. So we break into "Rockin' My Life Away," and then halfway through the song, I look over, and there's Jerry Lee standing there outside of the velvet curtain, the backstage, on the stage, watching us. I think, oh man, I've heard wild stories about this guy. He's going to attack me or something. But instead, he was kind of grooving to it.
Wow.
So a little bit later, we're back in the dressing room, and the place was packed. They were all there, big Jerry Lee fans of the King. It was a great honor to open for him. And we're in the dressing room, and there's a pounding at the door. And one of the roadies, his name was Bobby, he goes, "Who is it?" And Jerry Lee. And I said, "It ain't Jerry Lee, man. Get out of here." And I said, "Don't open the door. I'm just changing." And pounding on the door, it's Jerry Lee. So he finally opens the door, and there's Jerry Lee standing there, right? Just before he's getting ready to go on. And, he's got his trusty bottle of booze under his arm and stuff, and he's already half in the bag. He's going, he comes in, and we don't know what to expect. Suddenly it's just quiet in the dressing room. And he comes in, he goes, I just want to shake the hand of you boys that were killing it tonight. Son, you're the killer. You're the killer tonight. I said, Jerry, there's only one killer. You're the killer, man. You will always be the killer. Not tonight, son. You're the killer tonight, son. And he loved rocking my life away, man. And so I was relieved at that, because that guy, just his look alone, he had an energy that you didn't know if he was going to go left, right, or center, right? Like you just didn't know.
Yeah, but he must have had just like a presence, like
an incredible, way bigger than life. He was one of the original rock stars, man.
Right.
Like huge, right?
Man, to give you props.
Oh, that was huge.
You must have just been like in seventh heaven.
That was like getting a PhD in rock and roll, man, for me. Seriously, it was, of course, most of the witnesses that were there now are no longer with us, but I'm glad to share that story with you. But yeah, that was kind of wild because he's a scary guy. He was a scary guy a little bit, Jerry. You know what I mean? Like one of those guys that you weren't sure exactly, should you get ready to defend yourself or open your arms and give him a hug,
So did you guys hang out and then watch his set?
Probably. Oh, absolutely.
How was it? How was he at that point?
Fantastic. Dude, he was so good. He put his foot up on the keyboard. He did the whole thing. He played a couple of country songs. The Keystone went nuts. There was a lot of people outside that couldn't get in, and I think somebody threw a chair through a glass window. I mean, it was great, man. It was old rock and roll, man. I think Jerry was inspired by it, because we were kind of young at the time, and I think he just liked seeing these young guys do this stuff,
He had a whole band too, right?
Yes, he did. The bass player, I think, was his gardener. Each guy in the band had a job around his house.
Great. Keep them close. But it's a good tight band though, right? Pretty.
Yeah, they
must have been
good.
Incredible. Wow.
Very good.
Man, what a moment. I love it. Oh my God. I just thought I'd pick your brains. There had to be something.
There's so many, man, but without disclosing things. But
right. I understand. So I was going to ask you this. So stepping back 88, and you were talking about having some upcoming Vault releases. There's more in the series. So what can people expect next? What's planned for the next one?
I think in the next few weeks, they're going to come out about every 6 weeks or so. And I think the next one is Stepping Back 1999. And again, it's another kind of guitar thing. If you like 88, I think you're going to love 99. And it's just a series of original rock and roll songs with me and a bass player and a drummer. Although I did have a friend play acoustic with me on one number, and a couple of other friends sing some background vocals with me. But it's, again, I'm so glad, man. I'm so glad that it's going to be up, out digitally and available for people.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can turn some people on to it, So
That's
like
awesome.
I said, the links for Jamie James are down below, kids. So go check it out. Give Jamie James some love. Check out his material. It's fantastic. So a lot of people here in the warehouse, probably I'm turning you on to you today. There might be some Kingbees fans out there. I don't think we've ever talked about the Kingbees on this channel, though. So I don't know. I've never taken a poll.
The Kingbees, it's funny because even to this day, man, I had no idea, but the Kingbees, because I don't really like to fly. I don't like leaving the earth. So like I didn't go out and tour around like in Japan or this or that, but I know I've gotten over the years like the weirdest things, man. Like people from Japan or from Russia or from New Zealand or England and so I think the Kingbees Polydor did a pretty good job getting us out there in 1980, although everything was kind of cut abruptly, but still it got out there.
Yeah. Well, I bet in Japan you guys would have been, even though you didn't get over there, but the Japanese market, man, that's the wonderful thing about Japan. They still like the physical media. They love their music. They like old music. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine who I do shows with, and she was like in Japan for like a month. It's vibrant.
That's awesome.
You've got record stores all over the place, and that's what they do. They don't stream. They don't want to stream. They want physical media.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's exciting. Listen, man, I mean, I hope I get a chance to go out and play some of these old songs.
I hope you do.
I would love to crank it up, man.
I think you're due. Think about that.
Yeah.
Get a band together. Well, do you jam with anybody right now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the guys that played on Straight Up with me, also the drummer, and Tom Slick, the bass player, and Ken Stange, the keyboard player. Although there's no keyboards on all this old Steppin' Back series, but through the 2000s, I had a core group that you played all over the country, and those guys, we play, when we get a chance, we play.
Yeah, I think well, hey, even if you added keyboards to this stuff and you revisited it, heck, why not?
Man, I mean, just think of Jerry Lee, man.
The tribute to Jerry Lee.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You have anything else you want to promote or talk about? I think we've pretty much done it.
No, man, I've really enjoyed this rap, man. Thank you, Grant. I appreciate it.
The whole goal in this whole channel, the whole channel is about talking about bands no one really talks about. So Kingbees, your solo career, that kind of stuff fits right in my wheelhouse. And the whole goal is to turn people onto you and the Kingbees or whatever, your career, and go check it out. I'm going to do the best I can to get this pushed out to people. So,
all right. Well, maybe I'll have a chance to come back and let me know what you think of the when Steppin' Back 1999 comes out.
You're more than welcome to come on, and hell, we could just talk guitars on one show.
I'd love that, man. I still have a lot.
We should do a guitar show. That'd be fun.
Right. Yeah.
Boy, people on my channel would probably go, "What, Grant? What the hell are you doing?" Talking guitars. What? Why not? I still love it. I don't play that much, but I love it.
I play every day, man. I have to.
Yeah.
For my own head, I love it too much.
Yeah. Do it. I mean, that's your passion. Play that damn Jaguar.
Yeah.
I love that Jaguar. I love that whole cover of that picture. I love that cover.
I know that's my old 1950 Mercury. I used to bomb around Hollywood and that, thinking I'm the cat's meow, at that time. I had an old 50 Merc and go to gigs and sport my red Jaguar. It was pretty frosty.
Those were the days. Those were the days. All right, kids, we'll wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy James, Kingbees, solo artist, got the new record. And shit, I just forgot the name of it. I'm going to have to redo that.
Oh, no, Steppin' Back 1988.
My God.
Just if people just ask Siri, Jamie James, Steppin' Back 1988.
There you go, kids. Get yours today. I'm not going to make an edit. Sometimes when I'm on the thing trying to think of what I'm going to say, my brain goes blank, Jimmy. It went blank. All right, kids, give him some love. The links are down below. Jimmy James, we will be back. We will have you back on. I think we have more to talk about. So, hey, good luck, and we'll be in contact. I know how to get a hold of you. So,
okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, we'll see you.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too.